Yes. Welcome to the match preparation video for Grange versus Ipswich, fixture to be played on the 22nd of February, 2026 at Ipswich. Obviously, this presentation is going to be a tiny bit modified because we didn't actually get to play a game last week. Sadly, the heavens prevailed and we didn't get to play MCE, which I would have quite liked to have done because I think it would have been a good game. In any case, we'll move straight into the much awaited lineup. Ba-bow. Okay, so resting, we are going to have Luca and Hayden. Luca has requested to roll his rest over to this week because he feels that the next fixture against against MCE is going to be a spicy one that he doesn't want to miss out on, and I'm inclined to agree with him. In any case, starting at the back, Mick, the starting centre backs, Zach Mason and Isaac. We have Max starting at defensive midfield. We have Luke Williams starting at left back. Francis starting at right back. Riley starting at number 8, box to box midfielder. Danny as the attacking midfielder or central attacking midfielder. Will starting on the right hand side. Mal starting on the left hand side, and Nathan leading the line up the front. On the bench, we have Zach, Ollie, Major, Luke, and Benji. I expect, being a hot day, we will very likely play with water breaks. I'd be astounded if we don't play with water breaks every 20 minutes. We will need to rotate this squad quickly and frequently in order to maintain fitness amongst our players. We will have the great big Gatorade chest, and that will be full of sports drink, and I'll bring along some water bottles as well, so we can fill them out, so we can reduce the chances of hydration being an adverse factor for us in the game. Coaching points very similar to last week. There's only a couple of modifications, and that's mostly in the language that I'm using when talking to you. We must compete physically. This will be especially true. We don't know much about this team. My guess is they've had significant turnover when you go from Division 1 to Division 3, Division 2 to Division 3. You can expect a little bit of squad churn as players rotate. My guess is that as Ipswich Knights went up and Ipswich FC went down, there may well have been a little bit of swapsies between the squads, but I don't really care. I think we will probably expect to have some gritty boys, and we will have the sprinkling of biologically mature African boys who will undoubtedly present a challenge of our own. So we will adapt as we come. Suffice to say, we will stick to our game and what we need to focus on our game, and then we can adapt as we identify particular tactical threats in the game. Obviously, we must compete physically. We're playing Ipswich at Ipswich. They will be coming out. I expect, if nothing else, they'll be a strong team. They'll be a physical side, so they won't be wanting to let us get away with anything. Intensity, we must keep our intensity. Honestly, when we keep our intensity and play our football, we're a very, very strong side. I'm simply encapsulating this by saying stay in the game. So stay in the game. If you are on the ball, look for passes, look to play a killer ball through. Think of the tactical awareness. Think of the best pass, bearing in mind that you don't have to go forward all the time. I would like us to develop patience on the ball because I think it will allow us to expose teams. If you're off the ball, then do something useful. Stay in the game. Stay alive. Present for a pass. Make a run that's going to take a defender with you to create space for someone else. Everybody at all times should be trying to figure out, how can I make an impact on the game? I often use the phrase, be useful, not useless. So that's a similar articulation for what I'm talking about. Now, shape. We will talk a little bit more about our shape, specifically when we are in possession as compared to when we are out of possession. And we've got a couple of diagrams to do that. With more details: in possession, intensity, pass, and then support the pass. As I said, that may be with a run. That may be presenting to receive the ball. It may be making a run to receive the ball, which takes a defender with you. Find the space and exploit it. There will be space on this pitch, boys. Find the space and we can exploit it and easily advance the ball into scoring opportunities. And patience, I want us to start to try to be more patient on the ball. Trust our ability to retain it, and we will be able to retain it better if we are less hurried in our pass. We don't have to produce a killer pass every time we make a pass. We definitely don't have to concede a killer pass anytime we're in the opposition's attacking third. If the opportunity is there, then take it. But don't be afraid to wait and retain the ball and look for a better opportunity to come forward. Okay? You don't spend when you get your pay, you don't go spending it on the first thing that you come across. You plan it and you figure out what's the best way to invest that money. And the same goes with possession with a football. When we're out of possession, shape's important. We almost got caught out against Redlands, so especially early on, that will be a focus in the video today. We need to make sure we maintain our discipline against the ball, which comes down to maintaining a disciplined shape and communicating. As always, we dictate the ball to the flanks. Okay, so we pin them against the sideline and use the sideline as an additional defender. Finally, with the press, or we are anywhere on the pitch, force them in the direction and wait and create mistakes. If we apply pressure, they will create mistakes, and that's when we pounce and we commit to win the ball. This is all pretty simple, boys. We've talked about it quite a bit before. Now, if I can, here we go. So this is us setting up on a pitch. Now, this is us set up as though we are in possession. And what I want to highlight here, we have the ball, we have Mick, we have the ball right here. So this striker, he's going to want to move one way or the other to engage the ball. As soon as we send the ball one way, everybody's going to, what I don't want is this run sideways laterally, okay, running this way, because all it does is it squeezes everybody. It just squeezes everybody against the sideline, because if the ball goes this way, he comes this way, he comes this way, we end up boxed in, and then we can't escape. So the solution becomes, usually you're going to have one-on-one. One presser to the two. If they decide they want to put more players into the press, that's fine, because it means that there will be space in the middle of the pitch. But notice the defensive midfielder is on one side and the 8 has dropped in on the opposite side to the defensive midfielder to help move the ball. That creates a square in the middle, one way or the other. Or it could be a square over here if that's where the attacking midfielder goes. But the point of the story is the 8 drops in to basically become a second defensive midfielder when we're trying to play the ball out. That will then create space back here. Now, Mick and defenders, if they're pressing hard and the space is here, then yes, we can kick longer. But our better option is to play through them, because if we can play through them a couple of times, the press will go away. They're not going to keep pressing us hard if we demonstrate the ability to play through them, because they're not going to want to take the risk that we can play through them and then expose space in behind. Whoopsies. Put that back up. A little bit of video. We have discussed most of these coaching points before, but I think it's worth discussing them. This is a good piece, so I'll start here. This is basically talking about the press. I'm going to go back to here. This is a good illustration of what to do with the press. Okay, Nathan's positioned himself. There, keeper. Oh, yeah, got to sort your shoelaces out, bro. So this is 43 minutes in. They're trying to take some time out of the game. He's got the ball now. What I like about this, I'll let the ball go a bit further. Now, if you watch Nathan's run, what is Nathan doing? He's dictating this guy to move towards the sideline. And then he puts a little jink on, if you notice. He puts a little jink on. So he's going this way. Then he puts a little jink and then curves his run. That's what we want to do, because we want to cut out this pass back to the goalkeeper, and that then isolates the centre back. Because if we can isolate him, then Nathan has effectively created a 3v3 because we have these players here. We've got them marked up. And it's going to make it very difficult for them to progress the ball because we've got a 3v3. And then if we can force an error, we're right onto them. So let's see how this goes. So he takes a touch forward. This is where I talk to us about taking a touch forward. Notice in this situation, we won't have this problem because our number 8 will have dropped into this position to play as a second defensive midfielder effectively. So that would mean that the diagonal ball over here could be an option. There you go. So they're not getting out here. Okay, turns, but ultimately can't get it away and the ball goes out of the sideline. That's fine. So that's an idea. That's an example of when we are making that press work well. If we go back to 26-30, we'll see an example where it doesn't work so well and where it can be really dangerous. A little bit further. Okay, so he's taking it back. He's running around. Nathan's looking a bit tired, 22 minutes in. Okay, so Nathan, what you need to do quickly is get yourself to this position because from that position, you can force the ball both ways, okay? From over here, you're not doing that. And lo and behold, so now Lucas steps up. So Lucas steps up to play his man. And he goes that way. Now, this creates, if we roll it forward, so Nathan, you're not tracking across. If you are getting yourself, if you're here where you need to be, and Luca, you're here marking this guy, then it's not easy for them to get out. Unfortunately, by having the striker here, it's forced the winger to come in on the ball. In that situation, though, my preference would be for you to stay back, and I would prefer you to just slide back, cover this guy, and just slide back and buy time for defensive support to come over. Okay, but we can learn those bits and things. They're just sort of match awareness, really. What at the other end of the pitch, I'll now switch to defence. And we've seen this before, but I really do need to highlight it so we don't have it happen. Okay, so ball breaks. Now, ball breaks in this situation, the actual action happens a little bit before this. Okay, ball goes out. I'm going to get a bit of a nothing scramble. I like the fact that our backs are marching them out. That's a good line, well formed. Okay, so now Ollie comes forward. Notice they've got two players in the middle of the pitch without the ball. One of the centre backs probably needs to step up and take one of these guys because we can't allow them to turn and face. So either of the centre backs, and they communicate which one's doing it, but one steps out and marks this guy, the other maintains the line. Now Zach's kind of lost this bloke. He's looking for a forward run, a little too aggressive. He's not goal side, so the right back is not goal side. And as this evolves, now at this point in time, we have a problem. Because this chap is inside and he's looking to execute this run, and the right back is behind the play, so he's not goal side, and the opposition player is in between him and the line. As we let it roll a bit more, now this guy's not really being. If one of the centre backs has stepped up and marked this guy, he's out of the play. But they play through. Now this guy, it's a terrible effort. Terrible effort. But then we'll go back to 4-4-6. Okay, so they're moving the ball over. Now, Luke at this point's in a good position, but he's not watching his man. He's watching the ball. So you need to be mindful of where he is. And then it's a good ball, but if you're in position and you're marking this guy, it's not going to be a problem. As it is, it slips away. We're very, very lucky not to concede. These guys all strip us for pace. We're all standing still. This guy gets it, takes a lot of time, and then just passes it to Nick. Terrible, terrible. So now we go to our attacking videos. We've talked about all of these before. but I just want to highlight them again because we want to have a tactical video. I can see in the background everybody's complaining about the team sheet not being released, but it will. Okay, so this situation, we've got the break, we've turned it. If we label it out, now this is an opportunity not to go too direct. We've got Luke Payne there, we've got Mal over on the sideline, we've got Luca here, and their defenders. We've created the situation which we want, because remember, if they don't have they've got a staggered line. They're all over the shop, and if they're all over the shop, then that gives us angles. Because if you have a look, we can drive angles through them. If they're in a straight line, it's harder to go through a straight line. Good pass. Nathan leaves it. Now this creates a really good ball out there to Mal, who is called offside, which, look, it's going to happen. But nonetheless, good football. I'm not convinced he was offside, if I'm completely honest. But we will get that because the referee is going to be scared to make a mistake. And that's fine. You can't blame them. This begins with a piece of excellent individual play. Luke using his speed and strength. He just skins that guy. But importantly, what he doesn't do is go too direct. Okay, what he does is he looks to play it into a central area because he's observed their back line is all running backwards at pace. He's got two on the inside, but what we have is Nathan, and I think that might be Danny there. So what he's going to look to do is what I ask you boys to do, which is to get the ball into here, either to Danny, maybe to Nathan, because they're all running backwards at the moment. So we'll let it play. So they're running backwards, plays it to there. Now, watch as they stop. So now they stop, and now they're even more exposed because they were a staggered line, they were running back, and now their shape is even more distorted, okay? They are all over the shop. So obviously the easy ball in this situation is to just to play the winger. In this case, I think it's Mal, to just play him through. And then he can dribble through and see what his options are, because he's going to have Luca on the other side. Nathan can turn and attack as well. As it turns out, unfortunately, just can't quite make the pass stick and the opportunity's lost. But better play creates those opportunities, and they're high percentage opportunities, because if that pass goes through, it creates a high percentage chance, high XG. So that's a good example. Okay, now Nathan's got the ball. I think this is an example of what not to do. You've got two players who you can roll back to here. Okay, your body shape's probably not ideal. Danny's probably not ideal, but Luke is there. That's a good option. Now, I understand what you're trying to do, but in that situation, just before you hit that, the easier ball is to simply play it back to, I can't see who that is. The easier ball would be to pass it back here, and then we can look to build up, because no, we've got them exactly where we want them. Like, have a look at where they are. And that's what I'm saying, patience. Be patient with the ball. They are all over the shop. Like, they've got a staggered line. They're all over the shop. So if we maintain possession, then we can build and create something. We don't need to be in such a rush. So yeah, tries to force the pass, possession lost, opportunity lost along with it. So hopefully this message of patience is getting through, because it's really important for us. Okay. So in this situation, now on the ball, drops it back. Now look to link up. Good. And the ref gives us a free kick. But better to play the ball back, and then we can find another way, as opposed to just keep driving at someone until you lose the ball. 76-30 sucks. So these are just examples of how we need to make the effort to, in this situation, Mal has executed a great run. What we need at this situation, we can all see what's happening. Mal is about to get the ball. What we need is people making the run to get onto the cross. You got to stay on side, but we need players running into the box to get on the end of the cross. Or in this situation with Nathan, get over here so that we can maybe pick up the scraps if the keeper manages to have to execute a save. And there's the ball. Excellent inviting cross by Mal. Just no one can get there now. In this situation, can't see who the player is. Got to make that run. You got to get there. You just got to work hard. You got to read it earlier, and you just have to get there. So they are my video coaching points that I wanted to talk about. That's pretty much just to reconnect us to the match preparation points. We must compete physically. We must demonstrate intensity. Okay? Stay in the game. Has to stay in the game. Shape, discipline against the ball. We can go through all of these. This is a significant game for us tomorrow. It's our second game. This is a team that's just dropped down. We saw Redlands, and they dropped down from Division 1, and I felt they were very beatable. I expect it will be similar. If we turn up and play, we have every chance of winning this game. If we decide not to, well, things might not go our way. I'm going to stop the recording there. I will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Let's bring it, boys, and let's get a W on the board, get 3 points, and roar that song in Ipswich's dressing room. Cheers, boys.